Welcome to the Spice of Life Variety Show. We bring you holy greetings from the West Angeles Church of God in Christ, where Bishop Charles E. Blake is our pastor and Mrs. May L. Blake is our First Lady. You know, no matter what has transpired in your life since the last time you've seen our show, we want you to know that you're still here. And as long as you're still here, there's still opportunity for things to change for the better in your life. Grab a pen and paper and jot down our contact information at the very end of the show. We welcome your prayer requests. We welcome your comments. We just welcome you. Thank you for being a part of our audience, and we love you. Miss Pamela Webb, how art thou, girl?
I'm good. How you doing, Dr.
I'm
Lewis?
doing okay.
All right.
You hanging?
I'm hanging. I'm here. I'm here.
You in the house?
Yes.
Okay, then. Well, so now what are we talking about today? Before we introduce our very, very special
important guest, okay?
Yes.
Well, you know, statistically, it's said that we're living much longer now.
Okay.
And that's a good thing. Amen. And so we're going to be discussing caring for parents.
Okay.
Because a lot of our parents, if I consider how old I am, my mother and father are still here and alive, and so there's a responsibility.
Exactly.
That's at hand.
Exactly.
And
for that responsible person.
Right,
huh?
right.
Well, you know, it is lovely sitting with you, but also to enhance our show today, we have, oh my goodness, Mrs. Claudia Jones. Claudia Jones, welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Claudia Jones, you are from the West Angeles family, and you are also on staff at West Angeles.
Yes,
and what exactly is your title at West Angeles Church?
I actually am the Chief Operating Officer for the Community Development Corporation. The Community Development Corporation, as you know, is the outreach arm, I would say, of the church.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Bishop's dream and vision to actually minister to more than just the church membership, but to actually go out into the community and to minister to those who are not actually members of the church. So that's what we do.
And you guys are doing such a fantastic job.
Awesome job.
Just kind of recap what comes to your mind off the top of your head. What have been some of your accomplishments?
Well, our mission is to increase social and economic justice, to demonstrate compassion, and to alleviate poverty, all of this as a tangible expression of the kingdom of God, and we do this through the vehicle of community development. Now, what does that mean?
Yes. What does it mean?
It simply means that we actually do whatever it takes to administer the felt needs of the community.
Okay.
We build affordable housing. We have 2 units, full units of affordable housing, one on Vermont in Los Angeles, one on King for families, and then we've just built the beautiful facility on Crenshaw and 60th for seniors.
All right.
All of these are affordable housing units. We do dispute resolution. We
Okay.
teach certified mediation, and we also go into the schools and teach the children how to do peer mediation. We do mediation for the courts at times also. We have a community assistance department that administers needs for those that sometimes have emergencies, have an inability to pay their rent or need bus tokens or some of those type of things. We have a food pantry. We also, under our ministry, we provide food for our Skid Row ministry. And just a number of other, we have free services to the community. Right now, we are doing the VITA, that's the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, where those who can't afford to go to a regular tax preparer to get their taxes prepared can come to our program and get them done for free. We are now quarterly having Law Day, where volunteer attorneys come in to give their services free of charge to the community so they can have one-on-one consultations with attorneys. And just a host of other programs, home buyer education, debt counseling, just to name a few of them. And these are just some of the things that we've been doing for the past, actually this is our 12th year.
Oh my goodness, I can remember
So
before
we're
there was
celebrating.
That's right.
Right,
That's
right.
Wow, that is awesome.
So we've been ministering to the community for the past 12 years. We're celebrating with our annual Unity Awards banquet this coming Thursday, February 2nd. We are honoring the Honorable Mayor Villaraigosa as our Man of the Year and Washington Mutual as our Corporate Citizen of the Year. And it's the one time of a year when we can tell the public what we do and solicit their help. because we asked them to come to it's an elaborate banquet at the beautiful Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I know this sounds like a commercial. Well, it is. But
And that's why I'm going to cut it right out.
right. It's the way that we let the community know what we're doing, so that they can be aware of what Bishop's vision is for those that aren't members of the church.
Well, you know what? Now, see, now number one, I told our audience that we had a very important person.
That's right.
You just validated that. But then someone may say, well, how does all this tie into caring for our parents? Well, it ties in because that you provide a source of information, a wealth of information else to how we who are in need, if the CDC does not directly provide a service or information, then because you're out into the community, you have avenues that can direct us. You know, and so that's how all this ties in with caring for our lost, caring for our parents, because you provide information. Now, just to kind of bring us back into talking about caring for our parents, because we all are blessed to have our parents still alive, and so that's a blessing. How would you say your relationship, first of all with you, Claudia, and then you, Pamela, how has your relationship with your parents changed since becoming the caregiver in their lives versus them being your caregivers or our caregivers?
For me personally, and actually it's a blessing to be able to do it. It has changed my life completely because my mom now lives in my home with me.
Okay.
She has dementia and has to have 24-hour care.
Oh, okay.
Which means I have to have a caregiver in the house at all times, or I need to be at home.
Okay.
One of the two.
Okay.
And she's been ill now since actually 2000.
Okay.
And the same time that she was experiencing her illness, my dad had a stroke.
Okay.
So at one point I was trying to take care of her at home, and then my dad lives in Minnesota.
Wow.
So I had to fly to Minnesota to try to get him on track and make sure that he was doing all right. He's doing much better now, and he lives alone.
Okay.
Praise God.
Good deal. Good deal.
But my mom was with a couple of different facilities before I had her actually moved into my home. And this way, with her being there, the relationship has extremely changed because I know she depends on me, even with dementia. The one good thing, now there's a slight difference between having dementia and Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And I've asked many doctors to explain it, and I've never quite got a clear understanding what it is. But my layman term, the way I can explain it to you, the difference is with Alzheimer's, if you put a plate in front of someone, a plate of food, in front of someone who has Alzheimer's and it's in advanced stages, they would actually forget what to do with that plate. They will forget I'm supposed to pick up this fork and feed myself. They will forget what the plate is there for, and that they have to eat. Now with my mom having dementia, you can put the same plate of food in front of her. She now feeds herself because she's doing much better since she's with me. However, if you ask her 5 minutes later, have you eaten? No. So she has forgotten. Right. So that's a really basic way of saying it.
Yeah, that we can understand.
But that's the way that I can relate it to you, that I understand. So there's a lot of challenges there with her memory being gone. Sometimes she actually can remember details of something that might have happened years ago. But the one thing that she has not forgotten, and it's a joy to me, is that she knows my face. So when I walk in the door, her eyes light up, and she grabs me by the hand, which means you best to sit down. And I do. And so I just purse everything on the floor when I come in and sit with her for a while. Regardless to if I want to check the mail, whatever it is, I have to wait because she knows my face and she knows, okay,
and that's a blessing.
She's home, so it's time for our time.
That is a blessing.
It is a blessing
because sometimes they don't recognize their very own.
Exactly.
And so that's why it's a blessing.
That's why I say it's my joy to do it. There are a lot of challenges. I'm not going to say it's not. There's a lot of challenges. It's very expensive to have her in my home. And my routine has changed. I'm very active in our church. Very active in the community. I love to travel. A lot of that has to be put on hold at times, just simply because I have to be there.
And the unfortunate part is that some people choose to say, I
wouldn't-
got to take care of
my
myself.
responsibility.
You know, I've raised children, and now it's time for me to travel. It's time for me to do my thing. And we don't realize, number one, the privilege and the honor it is to take care of our parents. We don't understand. We realize the command that God is expecting of us to take care of our parents who have who sacrificed their life for us. And so it is a blessing. I'm so glad you see that.
Oh,
in that
definitely. I
regard.
watched my mom do it.
All right.
When my grandmother was ill and older, my mom actually added on to her house so that she would have her own section in her home.
Okay.
And she added on a complete living room, bedroom, bathroom
own
for my
private
grandmother.
area.
Right. So I watched her care for her, and then when my grandmother had a stroke and could no longer care for herself, my mom went to the hospital 3 times a day. So I watched her do it, and I saw what it did for her.
Wow.
And we, as the kids, we helped. So it's just something that I know, that I believe is part of me. I believe that's what we're supposed to do.
part of it.
The Bible tells us to take care of our parents and to honor our parents,
Yes.
that we might live long.
That's
and
right.
I intend to do
the
so.
command.
And see, the thing about it too is that it also reflects that your mom is receiving the harvest from her seeds that she planted. As you said, that you saw her demonstrating her mom's life. And what we need to understand is that what we put out, that's what we're gonna get back.
Oh, yeah.
And so and you are sowing seeds for your life in that you're gonna be well taken care of too. If the rapture doesn't come first, you know. So, Pamela, how has your life changed being with your parents?
Well, my parents are fine. The only problem is that my mother's sight is not as well as it was, and so they depend on me to drive, you know. And so my stepfather, he can still drive. My father still drives, but it's a little different because she had to adjust to releasing her freedom, realizing that now I have to do the driving, and my agenda works on their agenda, on their time span. And then a lot of times she'll say, well, can you take us for this doctor's appointment? And we'll talk and set my calendar with their calendar, and it works out fine. But I remember, I guess it was maybe a month ago, I had said something to her, and she said, you are not my mother. You are my daughter. I say, yes, ma'am.
She put you back in check.
Yes, got me in check.
Well, I know that kind of like with your dad, my parents waited until they retired and then relocated 1,800 miles away. Well, that generated a concern for me, most immediately being, okay, well, you're not 30 and 35 like you used to be. And so now I also have to be concerned that you're going to be so far away, and as you begin to age, even more so. Thank God they're still healthy and still mobile and etc. But God forbid if they keep on living, even with just age itself, there's a concern there that you want to be in place for. And even though I have family down there, those are my parents, and so and because I am concerned about them, there will be a time when I am going to hate that distance between us, but I'm going to have to deal with that. And so it is a blessing knowing that we have parents that we can take care of.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned the challenges, and of course that for both of you, having your parents immediately here with you, that is adjusting your schedule, your time frame, and realizing that when your friends who are not giving care to their parents, when they would do, you might not can do, because again, like you say, in your case, you have to have full care for your parents, and for your particular situation, they depend upon you as their eyes, and so it's a selfless position that you're in.
Definitely.
And one has to look at that in order to be successful in that role,
Very much so.
You know, I was looking at AARP. Thank God for AARP. You know,
Yes.
we all have arrived at the AARP level, and they offer some tips in being a caregiver. And so let's just maybe explore and discuss some. One of the tips that they say is that do face your fears. Parents' demands can trigger the mental fears that we might have in realizing that, number one, the roles have changed, and also realizing that we too, if we keep on living, this is going to become our plight. And so Do any one of you maybe have anything you might want to say on facing the fears that come from the reversal roles? Because we look at mom and dad as being who we run to. Those are our heroes, and now to realize that they can no longer be our physical heroes. How does one handle that?
Let me address it first. I know there are a number of times, especially with my mom being in the home now, that things happen. They're almost funny. Just the other day, my daughter came over and was on the treadmill in my den. And my mom usually sits in the den with her caregiver watching television. And my daughter had flipped to videos. And I guess my mom sat there and watched them long enough, and she said, turn. Now, she has a lot of trouble getting her words out sometimes, speaking and expressing herself with the dementia. A lot of times we have to really try to pull words out of her or understand what she said. What she said, plain as day, turn that off. And my daughter said she immediately reverted back to 11 years old. Okay, Mommy. and the same thing has happened with me. I know, like I said, when I come in the door and she grabs my arm and says, sit down, I know I have to do that. And then there are other times when she'll sometimes just make funny comments, or I might be watching something with her on television, just like with my daughter, and she'll make a comment. I immediately revert, like, Mom said.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, like I was saying earlier, it's still a blessing to be able to do so. And I just cherish these moments right now. My schedule has changed, and I do have a lot of fears that go along with, am I doing this right or am I doing that wrong? My mom is on medication, and I believe the medication helps her sleep. But just night before last, maybe it was 11 o'clock, I heard noise in her room, and I went, and even though she has a hospital bed, she had attempted to get out of the bed. By the time I got to her, she actually had her legs over the rails, and things like that scare me.
Yes,
Like, what had I had been asleep at that hour and not have heard it? What might have happened? Would she have maybe fallen out of the bed? And just little things,
or something.
little things like that. And there are a lot of fears associated with that. The what ifs. What if I hadn't heard? What if I had not been there at the time?
Thank you, Lord, she was, and she heard.
Yes, God is faithful.
And then that's the one thing that I have to every single day is pray and thank God for His protection over my mom. She has a wonderful caregiver right now.
That's a blessing.
And has progressed tremendously since she's been with this particular caregiver. But there's still some fears, as far as will she slip? For Christmas, I took up my carpet and had the hardwood floors varnished, and they're beautiful, but they're slippery. And she had on socks, and we all saw it coming, like she was getting ready to slip, and we all went. That's a fear to me. But we just pray God's protection over us every day, and He has been faithful.
He's been faithful.
Wow.
What about you, Pam?
Well, what kind of scares me, I think a couple of weeks ago, my mother had asked me to call and make a doctor's appointment. And that's just scary because she's such an independent woman, and so I did it. And a lot of times when we go to the doctor's office, I expect her and my stepfather to go together, but she looks for me to go with them. And it's like, oh, this is not right. It's just seems out of sorts. You don't mind doing it, but it's a little fearful.
It's deep.
It's fearful because this is Mom. This is this independent woman that can handle everything. And so it just, you humble yourself. Like I told you, she told me, she had to kind of check me and say, look, I'm the mother, it's okay. Yes, that's right. But those kind of things is hard. And people can prey on those that are aged. And so that's another thing.
Of course.
All of these different calls on the phone.
And it's unfortunate that people are out there that will prey on our seniors. But they do.
And house repairs and all of that. So, it's just... So praise God that I'm retired and I can do more. So
it is a blessing. God knows how to set us up in a situation that will be conducive to what our situation is. That He allows to come our way. Another point that they say is, do say no, but gently. It's not easy, especially when we're faced with a request we're not prepared to argue against. And so there are some times when we might have to say no gently but firmly. You know, Mom, no, you cannot get up. You know, you have to stay there. And now it's like the reverse role. Exactly.
Yes.
You know how the mama used to say, this hurts me more than it hurt you? I don't see how. I'm still trying to calculate that one. But now we understand, you know, I know that you want to get up, or I know that you might want to go for a walk, whatever the case may be. But no, you can't do that for your own good.
Right.
Definitely.
But we have to always be respectful because,
Respectful.
again, they are
That's
our
right.
parents. And we love them, and we have to treat them just like that. Another point that they make is that don't take this time to settle old scores. You know, the however way your parents were, what they lacked as parents, or how they were lacking in your life, or what they didn't do. Don't take this as a time to beat them up or take advantage of the moment. You know, and so we need to remember that too. In reflection on that, as to sometimes how people treat their parents.
Yeah, there's a lot of elder abuse, going on, and a lot of times it's from their own family members. Sometimes their children. So I do know that goes on quite a bit.
What might be a remedy to eliminate that? You know, if a person is finding themselves as a caregiver and becoming so frustrated with their parents and with giving care, what might be some remedies?
I think
elder
every
abuse?
caregiver, whether you are caring for a sick person, you're an elderly person, a child, or whatever, you need a respite of some type. Whether it's once a week, once a month, however often you need to have that respite. I think you definitely, that is very important in your being able to give the right care, not only with your relationship, as you say, and to be able to continue to do what you do. If you don't, like anything else, you can be burned out. And it has nothing to do with your love for them.
Nothing
at all.
It's just people get tired. You get tired. And in the case where you have someone where you have to 24 hours take care of them, you have to get them up and take them to the bathroom. You have to make sure that they get a bath and help bathe them and whatnot. Now you do that day in and day out. You need a break. So even with my caregivers, I have one for the week and a different one for the weekend.
Okay, because they also need
to have to do that 7 days a week, they would burn out. I've already had a couple that have left. You know, they miss their own routine or whatnot. Well, I can't leave. So I too need a respite. And it's changed my life. So like I said, I'm very active at the church, but now I have to be home by 8 because her caregiver leaves at 8. So it's a certain amount of things that you have to give up also.
Right. Because life for you, as you've said quite a few times, does not change. You know, it does not stop. You know, you still have to live your life and add their life on top of your life. And so it is a challenge to be a caregiver, but we can never allow it to get to the point to where we become abusive. And and for some people, maybe you just can't, maybe that person just will do the parent a service maybe to have them someplace else. If you absolutely just cannot stand what is going on, then or can handle it, or whatever the case may be,
someone else will power.
No,
you have to change.
Exactly, and you have to recognize the fact that I'm not the one. But even with that, you cannot step back from your responsibility. You still have to do your part and have an active role, because too many of our seniors, you know, they have paved the way before us, and now they have aged, and some have been kicked to the curb and never are cared for, never are people don't care. And so, as with anything else, people who have people who care for them will get the better attention and the better help.
And you know what? I believe that if someone has an abusive nature about them, just because you've been put in a position where you have to care for your parent, or your child, or whoever it is, your nature is not going to change.
Right.
You know, you are who you are, and if you are a caring person and realize that I have this defect about me, then you need to get either assistance or make sure that someone else takes that role.
Primary
role. Be the primary giver. Because it's a situation. It's just like spousal abuse or anything else. If that is your nature to do that, Just because you love the person
it's
doesn't
gonna
have
really be
anything.
enhanced under pressure,
Under
because
pressure,
who we
exactly.
are, because who we are is enhanced under pressure. And then also too, we have to understand that we cannot allow other people to set the agenda. Well, Claudia, I don't believe that you know, no. If I'm not walking in your shoes, then I cannot set your agenda. And we have to be free
Right.
enough to know that we need to do the best thing for my parents. You know.
Right, and hopefully other family members or friends are sensitive to the situation and can see, well, there might need to be a change here, and can tell. So everyone needs to be open-minded,
Open-minded is so
and willing to accept some other help and assistance.
What would be, well, we're down to the last couple of minutes of the show. And so what would be your closing reflections, Pamela Webb?
Well, I just would let our viewing audience know that one day we're all going to need someone to be behind us and to support us. And God has already said the way I think it's the first commandment, if we treat our parents and our guardians with all the respect, our lives will even be longer. And what you plant is going to return. So if you plant good seed, God is going to bless that seed. He's going to bless the seed.
Definitely.
Okay, well, what would be your final thought?
As far as caring for an aged parent or whatnot, my final thought would be that I hope whoever is put in that position would go into the position prayerfully, because we need direction. And sometimes a good idea might not be a God idea. And I had the first, I think, year, I had her in a facility that I thought was good, but she outsmarted them and walked away.
Oh, my goodness.
On New Year's Day,
okay.
she walked away and was missing.
Okay.
And if you don't think that that's stressful,
That is.
we had the
Know
two
where to
different
go.
police departments looking for her, the bus department, everyone looking for her because she was able to walk away. So just make sure that you pray about what decisions to make and where they should and how you should do what you need to do.
And then as the my final thought too in the last few seconds is that as the bereavement director, I see, you know, we experience death all the time and we see death, and so value each day, because once they're gone, they're gone. And so don't lose sight of the preciousness of this day with your parents. And if we have to provide care, we have to provide care. Do that and do it joyfully, and do it and ask for help. Seek out help. Ask others. Make calls. Find the help that you need. To you, our viewing audience, we just kind of want to just kind of perk your mind on thinking about caring for our parents or caring for anyone that you might need to be a caregiver to. Know that if you are the one giving care, you are blessed because you are giving the help, not receiving the help. Be blessed and know that you are special. We love you and God bless you. Take care. It is a blessing being